When Abraham died, there was a revolt in the same land again. They begin to fight Isaac, fight him, fight Isaac here and there until the kingdom came again on Isaac's time. When the time for kingdom to advance with Isaac, the Lord said, I allow again Isaac to collide with Abimelech, the king of the land, and they entered into synergy. And there was peace in the land, and Isaac went forward, conquered the entire land for the Lord. And God began to give me example for example. He said, I came to you to let you know that what you are watching is a sign of my kingdom. And he reminded me about Nigeria. He reminded me what he showed me and told me about Nigeria. See? Not for tonight. So he said, when Jacob time came for the kingdom to advance, because the 7th day, these 7 years is a paramount. Watch Abraham. Abraham reached Beersheba. Isaac, Beersheba. What is Beersheba? The 7 wells. He called the 7 oath and the 7 well. That was where Abimelech and Abraham entered into agreement. Number 7. He said, that's what this 7th year, since 2019, and the Lord has appeared to so many in this nation, which by his mercy, we will emerge together. We. And they remember what I told you in 2015, May 29, 2015, that when Buhari entered office, that was when God came and told us that Nigeria has entered into darkness. Did I not tell you? Bag of rice in 2015 was 10,000, 8,000. And I told you guys that between now to December, be ready to buy rice 50,000. It is not up to November. Bag of rice clock 45,000 in this country. And I told you guys, it's the beginning of pain. It's the beginning of suffering. Not only to Nigerians as a nation, but also to the church, to the believers. And the Lord showed us the coming out from this pain. He showed us the massacre. I told you people, this killing will not stop. The only people that have the power and the key to quench every violence in this nation is the church. The Lord explained everything. And since then, he began to prepare us for the mission. Because we are going to champion the kingdom of God in this country. And it's going to be brutal. Be ready. Because the enemy you will face against kingdom of God is not the sinners, is not the demons of the world. The enemy you will face are these gluttons that call themselves religious men and women of God. They are the one you will face. He gives you a sign how they haunted Jesus and haunted the apostles who came to obstruct their gain. And they hold the master to death. That is the people we are going to face. And I'm willing to die for the master. Because to die is gain. So when the days of Jacob came for God to use him to advance the kingdom of God, what God did is to change his name. The changing of Jacob's name is to bring him from number 6 to number 7. That was when Christ do what? Crystallized what? In the life of Jacob. And God called him Prince. Which means God's representative on earth. But it will not suffice. He won't do anything alone. There must be an agreement between the world power and the kingdom of God to advance his kingdom on earth. That's how God does. Joseph went to Egypt. At the end of the day, for Joseph to meet Pharaoh, he have to come from the prison. Who came out from the prison? As you know, is who? Is Christ. Is a type of Jesus. Because the number 7 is always the beginning of the kingdom of God in any generation. When the day came for Joseph to advance God's kingdom in his life, God had already finished everything in his life and sent him to prison just like Jesus. And on the 3rd day, Joseph came out from the prison just like Jesus. He changed his clothes, put new one. Just like Jesus, when he came from the grave, he changed his garment and put on the new garment. And he appeared before Pharaoh, and he beckoned Jacob to come. When Jacob came to Egypt, the Bible said that Joseph led him to Pharaoh. When Jacob appeared before Pharaoh, the world power, the Bible said Jacob blessed Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said, the land is before you, anywhere. And there is a synergy between God's kingdom and the kingdom of this world. The Lord said that is what is called the dominion mandate of God on earth. Jesus did not come to beg you because the whole world is into his hands. He said the king is in my hands and I will use any of them as I want. You see? So Joseph and Pharaoh have to enter into agreement and they come together as one. Jacob discipled the entire Egypt. There was peace for 7 years in the land. Number 7 is critical. As the Lord reminded me, you are in the 7th year, the beginning of the kingdom of God. And that's why he reminded, this kingdom of God in this nation, we metamorphose, we be the agent that will state who will be in Aso Rock when it comes to its fullness. Did I tell you or not? I told you how God revealed to us that the darkness in this Aso Rock, that is you, which is the church, will make it happen. And he showed us also, I don't want to sound political or partisan. No, I'm not the president. I want to even be. I'm talking about the kingdom on earth for the souls of men to be harvested for the glory. You see? And he showed us that the Aso Rock becomes a domain of God's glory. And as I was watching, the whole place was covered with God's glory, was covered with the cloud. And I saw the ministers, all of them on white. And I saw the aides, all of them on white. And I saw Mr. President, he was also on white. And the Lord now said to me, when the righteous is on the throne, there will be joy in the land. But he said he can't do anything. That's why if anything happens next year, this election, don't worry yourself. The kingdom already started. But the kingdom journey begins with the God's children first. Before I can do what? Translate to where? To society. You know why I'm focusing on Nigerian church? Because that was what the Lord said. I told you people, I drove Buhari in 2015. He was sick, died near death. Did I tell you or not? I told you in 2015. That's when they begin to talk about his death. whether in Donda or not.